If you keep cycling through the same heaviness, the same anxiety, the same sense that something is off, no matter how much you change about your life, there's a reason. And it has nothing to do with what you've been told. Because what most people call depression isn't depression. What they call anxiety isn't anxiety. And what they call burnout almost never is. They're all symptoms of the same underlying thing. And almost nobody is talking about it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you understand it, you stop spending years to fix the wrong problem. I've spent over 2 decades doing this work with people who came to me labeled depressed, anxious, burnt out. Some of them diagnosed, most of them self-diagnosed. And what I've seen over and over is that almost everyone has been working on the wrong layer of the problem entirely. In this video, I'm going to show you what's actually happening in your nervous system when you feel these things, why the labels are misleading, and what you need to look at instead, because once you do, the heaviness loses its grip. Here's what I want you to understand before we even start. Your emotions are not telling you about your reality. They're telling you about the quality of your thinking right now in this moment. Every label we've been given, depression, anxiety, burnout, is just a description of it due to a massive misunderstanding. So let's start with the foundation. Emotions are chemicals, literally. There's a region at the base of your brain called the hypothalamus. It's a chemical factory. When you have a thought, that region produces a peptide, cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins. These aren't metaphors, they're molecules. They get released into your bloodstream. They bind to receptors throughout your body. And what you feel, what you call sadness, fear, anxiety, joy, is the chemistry doing its job. Now, here's why that matters. If emotions are produced internally by your own brain in response to your thinking, then they're not commentary on your external life. They're not telling you whether your job is bad, your relationship is failing, or something is wrong with you. They're telling you what's happening in your nervous system right now. Let me prove this to you. Think of something from your past you genuinely don't want to revisit. Don't actually do it for real. Just notice that I'm asking you to just think about it. Almost immediately, your body responds. There's tightness or heaviness, maybe even a wave of something darker. Nothing has changed in your reality. Nothing is actually happening to you. You're sitting where you're sitting watching this video, but the emotions arrived anyway. Why? Because emotions are not responding to reality. They are responding to thought. Past, future, hypothetical, it doesn't matter. The trigger is the thought. The body responds to the thought, not to what's actually happening. That's the first thing to get. Emotions are not evidence of reality. They're chemistry produced internally in response to thinking. So if emotions aren't telling you about your reality, what are they telling you? Stay with me here, because this is the part most people have never had explained to them. Your emotions are feedback, real-time signals about the quality of your thinking moment to moment. Your emotional state is not random. It's not a sentence. It's not a diagnosis. It's not a verdict on your life. It's information about what's running in your mind right now, this very second. Think of it like a built-in GPS, a system that someone somewhere designed into the human nervous system to help you stay on a path that fits who you actually are. When you have a thought that aligns with who you really are, with what you actually want, with a direction that has meaning for you, your nervous system gives you positive feedback, energy, lightness, clarity, like a green light. Keep going. When you have a thought that doesn't align, when you're rehearsing a future that scares you, replaying a past that hurts, telling yourself something that isn't true about who you are or what's possible for you, your nervous system gives you negative feedback, heaviness, anxiety, dread, like a red light. Pay attention. That's all it's doing. It's not depression, it's not anxiety, it's not burnout. It's feedback from a nervous system trying to alert you that the thinking running underneath your day isn't serving you. And here's the part almost nobody tells you. When you treat the feedback like a problem instead of like information, you make the loop worse. You add layers of stress about feeling stressed, anxiety about feeling anxious, depression about feeling depressed. The original signal gets buried under all the meaning you've been making about it. So now you're not just dealing with the original thought pattern, you're dealing with the chemistry of the original thought pattern plus the chemistry of the meaning you've been making about that chemistry. No wonder it feels heavier every day. So why do we call it depression, anxiety, burnout? Because we don't have a culture that teaches what emotions actually are. So we describe what we see, and what we see is chronic patterns of negative feedback. So we name those patterns like conditions, but they're not conditions. They're chronic feedback loops. A nervous system has been giving the same response to the same kind of thinking for years. And because the thinking has been running unchallenged, because no one's ever told you to look at the thinking, the response has been running unchallenged too. That's what most people call burnout. That's what most people call anxiety. And that's what most of what we call depression actually looks like underneath. Same chemistry, same thinking patterns, same misunderstanding of what those patterns are. And here's why this matters more than almost anything else you learned this year. If you treat it like a condition, you look outside for the cure. New job, new relationship, new city, new supplement, new therapist. Sometimes those help, but they don't address the underlying thing, which is why the heaviness comes back, sometimes within months, sometimes within years. Different setting, same feeling. You probably watched this happen in your own life or someone else's. The person who changed everything and still felt the same. If you treat it like feedback, you look inside. You ask, what am I thinking? What's been running in the background? What's the story I've been telling myself for years that this nervous system has been responding to? And once you ask that, once you look at the thinking, not the labels, something interesting happens. The pattern starts to shift, because most of the time you've been responding to thoughts you didn't even know you were having, thoughts that were installed in you before you had a choice about them, thoughts that became so familiar they stopped sounding like thoughts and started sounding like the truth. That's why it never moved. Not because there's something wrong with you, not because the methods didn't work hard enough, not because you weren't trying, because you've been answering the wrong question for years. So to put this in one place, emotions are chemistry produced internally in response to thinking. They're feedback on what's running in your mind, not evidence of what's wrong with your life. And what we call depression, anxiety, and burnout aren't conditions in the way we've been taught to think about them. They're chronic feedback loops. Misread because nobody taught us what feelings actually are. Now, I want to be clear about something. For severe clinical conditions, this is not a replacement for professional support. If you're in crisis, get support. But for the everyday feeling of anxious, exhausted, stuck, for the heaviness that follows you regardless of what you change externally, the reframe applies. You've been trying to fix the feeling. You need to look at the thinking. And if you don't, if you keep treating the feedback like a verdict, you'll keep making the same external changes and feeling the same internal way for decades. Most people do. All right, that's it for today. If something in this hit, do me a favor, hit subscribe so that the next one finds you. And if you've been carrying something heavy, something you don't know how to put down, there's a video popping up right now that shows you how. Watch it next.